Good morning. Here in 1 Samuel 17, we read the fascinating narrative of David and Goliath. Their battle reminds us of the very real spiritual battle that exists in the world. In the story, David represents Jesus, our deliverer. Goliath represents Satan, our enemy. And through the tactics employed by the giant, we are reminded of how the devil will try to get at us. He will tempt us to doubt God and His power. He will lead us to live in fear, and he wants us to believe his lies. Like Satan, Goliath is skilled, and sadly we see the armies of God cower in fear at his antics, rather than rising in faith to take their stand against him. It's especially disappointing when David arrives at the battlefield with food for his brothers. As he observes the giant's antics and the Israelite army retreating in fear, he's clearly concerned. And when he begins to ask questions, listen to what happens. Verse 28. Now Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, "Why have you come here?" In other words, what are you doing here? "And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness?" That's belittling him. "I know your presumption and the evil of your heart, for you have come down to see the battle." Well, no, that's not true. He didn't come to see the battle. He came to bring food to his brothers. I mean, we learn that Goliath had been ranting for 40 days, so clearly the soldiers needed food. His father Jesse had come through and sent the provisions by David. He wasn't being presumptuous. He was observing the situation, but it wasn't motivated by evil in his heart. Now, why do you think Eliab was so angry? Well, consider what David had just observed. Eliab had withdrawn in fear at the taunts of the giant. So had the rest of the army. So he's likely embarrassed that David had seen him. But to respond that way, to falsely accuse his little brother, it's a reminder that false accusations are an oft-used tactic of the enemy. He's referred to in Revelation as the accuser of the brethren. That's us. Why? Well, because if you receive false accusations, then you have to deal with them. And they can be distracting as well as discouraging. There's the temptation to play them over and over again in your mind, which doesn't benefit you at all. Well, that's the hope of the enemy, that you'll just keep remembering them and focusing on them rather than the truth. You can find yourself crippled by them if you lose sight of who God has made you to be. Remember 2 Peter 1, 9 and 10. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, part of a holy nation, a people belonging to God, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy, the forgiveness of all your sin. So, did David allow his brother's false accusations to get to him? Verse 29, and David said, "What have I done now? Was it not but a word?" Oh, so this wasn't the first time Eliab had mistreated his brother. And David's appeal is just a stating of the facts. "Eliab, I spoke a word. I did not deserve to be spoken like that or accused like that. I am not here with evil motives." So he speaks the truth in love, and then rather than staying engaged with his accusing brother, verse 30, and he turned away from him toward another, and spoke in the same way, and the people answered him again as before. So He didn't let his brother's false accusations stop him from doing what he discerned the Lord was leading him to do. And thank goodness, because God had a plan, just like he always does. And God would use David's faith to give him courage to face and fight the giant. God will use your faith to give you courage to face and defeat any giants that would get in your way of doing God's will. Today, confess the truth. Believe. 2 Timothy 1:7. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Praise Him.
I am holding on to faith, 'cause I know you'll make a way. And I don't always understand, and I don't always get to see, but I will believe it. Yes, I will believe it. You make mountains move, you make giants fall, you use songs of praise to shake prison walls. I will speak to my fear, I will preach to my doubt, that you were faithful then, you'll be faithful now. I am standing on your word, I'm calling heaven down to earth, and you will fight my enemies, and this will end in victory, and I will believe it. Yes, I will believe it. Oh, you make mountains move, you make giants fall, you make songs of praise to shake prison walls. Oh, I will speak to my fear, I will preach to my doubt, that you were faithful then, you'll be faithful now. You were faithful then, you'll be faithful now. And I know that you never fail. Yes, I know that you never will. And I know that you never fail. Yes, I know that you never will. For you make mountains move, you make giants fall, you use songs of praise to shake prison walls. Oh, I will speak to my fear, I will preach to my doubt. You were faithful then, you'll be faithful now. You make mountains move, you make giants fall, you use songs of praise to shake prison walls. I will speak to my fear, I will preach to my doubt. You were faithful then, you'll be faithful now. You were faithful then, you'll be faithful now.
Thank you for listening to Mornings with Pastor Jim. This podcast is a ministry of Family Church PC. For more information or to contact us, go to familychurchpc.com. Have a blessed day.